From today, you lose every right as my husband.
It will be in your own interest to support me in all of my political campaigns that I'll be going out for.
Is that a threat?
On Man to Man today, we're speaking to a man who started a powerful movement, one that's challenging the way men think, behave, and relate to one another. He's the founder of Varume Svinurai, a fast-growing platform encouraging men to wake up, step up, and show up better in society. My friend, thanks for coming onto the show.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
So let's start with Varume Svinurai. It almost suggests kuti tagable, and that we need to wake up. Was that the idea behind the name?
Yeah, it actually came from we had a meeting sometime around 2012, February 2012. And we were tossing around the idea of forming a men's forum. And one of the co-heads who was there suggested that name. And it resonated very well with the people who were there. So that's how Varume Svinurai started. Basically, the idea behind Varume Svinurai is that as 2012 going back, it was women. And a lot of things was happening, a lot of legislation was coming up supporting women, and men were very quiet. And then issues to do with domestic violence, etc. Men decided that it's high time that we should also talk that, you've forgotten us, we are there. That's how our mission came. It was basically saying, wake up and smell the coffee and join the debate on equality, etc.
So since 2012, where you've been agitating for Varume Svinurai, has there been movement? Has there been progress? Are men waking up, smelling the coffee to the issues that they should be paying attention to?
Yeah. The moment we started talking about Varume Svinurai, we were lucky to have one guy who was a journalist who came to us and said, you guys, whatever you are doing, there's need for publicity. So ZBC at that time was very good at inviting us to discuss various many issues. And that made us come to the National Forum. And then the Ministry of Women Affairs and Community Development at that time embraced us and would invite us to their various workshops. And that was the beginning of Varume Svinurai coming to the National Forum.
Well, Mkomafred, there are many issues pertaining to men that we can talk about, right? Now, let's maybe start with men talking and men using each other as a support of some sort. What are the challenges with men talking about the challenges that they're facing?
It's the platforms. There are very few platforms that men can come and talk about what is affecting them. Becoming in of organizations such as Varume Svinurai gave them at least a platform where they would find the courage to come forward and talk about their problems. But what is very interesting is that when we started Varume Svinurai, the people who first approached us with various issues, especially concerning domestic violence, were women who would feel hurt if they say their brother or their uncle is being abused. Then they would come to us and say, we've got a brother who is being abused. We understand you've got a better platform that we can talk to him and help him. So the first people who were very active during our early days were women coming forward.
Now, it's all and good to have a platform where men can come and have these conversations, right? Yeah. But these platforms can't be everywhere. So, how do we talk amongst ourselves? Because I mustn't wait to find Varume Svinurai. I must be able to come to you and say, Blaz, this is what's happening at home. How do I deal with it? How do we get men, or why do men ordinarily not talk? Why do they need a platform?
Yeah, you see, it's the way we grew up, especially as Africans. It's not only limited in Zimbabwe. We have had it in South Africa, Zambia, Mozambique, especially in Southern Africa. Men were taught to be brave, not to show a weakness by challenging anything. I mean, crying, sort of, when they are being abused or things are not going their own way. They are supposed to be strong characters that will fight and always win. That win-win thing in the mind of the ordinary man is what keeps him silent.
Now, I want to talk about some issues that impact men, issues around divorce, issues around unemployment. Unemployment's been a big issue. I'm on the platform, Varume Svinurai, and some of the conversations are around unemployment, or where the wife or partner earns more than the husband. What sort of conversations have you mediated or have you come across around that issue?
Yeah, everything starts on the distortion when we're talking about equality. The moment equality basically was meant that, we should have equal opportunities. So that if you've got a degree in law and a woman has got a degree in law, you should have the equal opportunity to be employed by a certain firm. And that we should have access to finances, housing, etc. at the same level. But it has been taken to the home. And the feminist movement in Zimbabwe came very, very strong to the extent that we reached a point whereby feminism became an enemy of men. Yet in reality, it's not supposed to be like that. When we come into the home, if the woman respects the man at the head of the house, and the man doesn't impose his authority like by force, then we are likely to have harmony. But then when someone tries to reach out to the other guy and try to tell him what to do and what not to do, the man becomes frightened. You're taking his space, and then there's bound to be conflict.
Well, conflict between men and women, conflict between some of these movements, including various feminist movements, is something that we're going to talk about when we come back. You're watching Man to Man. Don't go away. In this business, how you start sets the tone for everything else.
Quick service, clean rides, and zero drama. When you land with purpose, you don't wait around. You move. No stress, just the keys to get moving. Legacy gets it right.
Fast, friendly, and professional service. I'm Hugo Batika, host of Man to Man. This is how you travel the Legacy way. Hello everyone, thank you for staying with us. You're watching Man to Man. In this episode of the show, we're having a conversation with Fred Misi, and our conversation is around Varume Svinurai, an organization that he founded many years ago. He's co-founder of that organization. And Varume Svinurai, by name, suggests men, wake up, open your eyes. Now, Ngoma Fred, before the break, one of the things we're talking about was the conflict that arises between men and feminist movements that advocate for various policies. Now, do you think that to get the message across, whatever that message is, there should be more collaboration as opposed to trying to force men, if you will, or push for an agenda without a conversation?
Yeah, when we started Varume Svinurai, the thinking which was within the women's movement was that we've come to destroy what they built over years, which is not the case. We're just coming in on one side to complement what they have been doing, and also to remind the nation in general and the world at large that there are men and boys out there whom we have forgotten over a long period of time, whom we should also give an ear to their challenges, and also that you can't solve women's issues without including men. Because at the end of the day, when we say, for example, that men are responsible for domestic violence, now we don't engage them, then we need to know to what extent are they involved in domestic violence. And at the same time, because you're talking about violence against women, you forget that there are some women out there who are also committing violence against men. And we need to come to the same platform, discuss and coming up with a common purpose.
But how much of this problem is the man's problem? And I call it the man's problem because there are accusations that Varume are when they are the breadwinners. So when the man is earning, the man is doing well, he mistreats his wife or his partner. When the tables turn, right, and the woman starts to assert herself, because now she's earning the money, there's a problem.
Yeah, whichever way you look at it, it's a bit funny that you can spend the rest of the week from Monday through to Sunday. You've brought nothing at home, and when your wife brings the bread, when your wife brings the chicken, the beef, what do you say? You say, "Maita madue." That, I mean, how do you feel? Jit maita madue. Chawe pamba, maita madue. You're always sort of thinking the clan of the woman. It's you see, when you're in the home, we've always encouraged our men that no matter how much your wife earns or how much she brings to the home, you should work hard that at least you bring something reasonable in the home. There should be a day that a woman would say, "Maita soko, maita morewa." That thing should come there. Now yes, maita move. You shouldn't reach a time where, if you try to recall, when was the last day was thanked in this house? No one could remember. And at one time we had a debate on one of the Maichi Samba shows. And the issues that a woman would reach a stage whereby she would say to the kid, "Go and collect my Fanta, which is in my fridge that I bought in South Africa."
Wow.
So you realize that, I mean, how comfortable will you be in the home? The children know very well that the father is not responsible for my fees. Father is not responsible for the food that we're eating here. And at the end of the day, believe me or not, the friends of your wife, the relatives of your wife will start intervening and say, "What's the purpose of you going in this house?"
But is the issue around Hugo bringing in equal amount with his wife? Is the issue Hugo bringing in less than his wife? Or is Hugo not bringing in anything at all?
Yeah, the conflict usually starts when you are bringing nothing at all, or something very, very little. Whatever you are bringing in the home, it has to be material. You would probably say you are responsible for paying the rent and paying the electricity. At least you're doing something that everyone knows Dad is doing something.
But Mgoma, let's flip the script, right? So there might be roles that a husband and wife or partners play in a marriage. And as you suggest, the husband's role is to pay the rent, pay electricity, pay some of the bills. And the problem arises when he fails to meet those obligations. Now, let's turn the script. The wife who may not be the breadwinner or the provider has certain expectations, right? That you expect to come home, the house is swept, the house is clean, there's a hot meal waiting for you, and so on. Would you not be up in arms if you get home and those things were not done?
Yeah, but we have got the mechanism in our African society to deal with those issues. When your wife is not doing her duties, that are the so-called gender roles, then we have to engage the family of the wife and trying to find out a solution to this. And usually there is no problem. Usually it's very rare to find conflict in a relationship where the man is doing his duty as the hunter and gatherer 100%. And that the family can actually feel that there is a father here. We are bound to find very little conflict. Conflict usually comes where these issues of equality, where the woman is bringing something huge into the home.
So I think largely the issue is around gender roles and balancing or managing those gender roles is potentially the source of conflict. I don't know what your take is, but this is certainly what's coming out of this conversation with Fred Misi, founder of Varume Svinurai, as we continue our conversation on man-to-man, on the different roles that men and women play in their marriages, and certainly the source of some of this conflict. You're watching Man-to-Man. We're back right after this. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Man to Man, where the conversation is getting heated because, according to Fred Misi, gender roles may or may not work. Ngoma ku dena mono bigere.
Not big. One thing that you have to know is that when we talk about equality, we should be in the home. The African flavor should always be there. Once you miss the African flavor, you're bound to have conflict. Right? I have in my home, I've got 4 boys. They do the cooking, they help with the dishes, they do help with the floors. If I decide to cook one day, it is just a through because I'm excited about something. But for my wife to say, I'll be home at 12 midnight. I want Sadza ready. That's going too much. That's going too far.
so you talk about the African. What is the African flavor? And talk to me about the African flavor in the context of your boys. Say, me mom, I'm big. Kumba. You've got 4 boys, right? The eldest is 30. In the next few years, the boys will get married and have families of their own. What is the conversation you are having with them about gender roles? Because at the moment, they will clean up the house, they will help their mother with these chores, right? including cooking. What is your expectation of them when they're in their own homes?
The traditional roles of men and women should remain as they are. That's the general thinking about from the different men that we talk about. We have talked about these issues to do with equality. Here and there you can help. And sometimes when it comes to washing dishes and cooking, you can do that privately. I wouldn't expect that we visit one of the boys and the wife is watching TV and is busy with the dishes in the kitchen and is cooking. And when we go home, we would ask the mother, what is actually happening to your boy? Because that becomes taboo.
But this is the same boy, Ngoma Fred, whom you've taught to help his mother. You've given him a skill set, right? Because his mother, or he doesn't have any sisters, right? And his mother cannot work on her own from morning to sunset. So there's certain skills that they've acquired, and those skills involve helping their mother, right? And I'm sure they enjoy helping their mother. So whether it's cooking in the kitchen or cleaning in the house, at some point, it's something that they do. So are you suggesting that once they leave your house and they go to their own homes, the expectation is that they stop, they lose that skill set?
Hugo, there is a line between division of labor and helping, right? If it is helping your wife, there's nothing wrong with that. You are helping her. But if you now sit down and say, you are going to be responsible for cleaning the toilets and the other stuff, and I'll be responsible for ABC, then we'll start losing it out.
So let me give you a scenario which is very practical. In the last few years, we've been reading about the men in the UK, the men that are following their wives to the United Kingdom, right? Going on a spousal visa, where hired help is very expensive. You can't hire because it's unaffordable, right? So you've got to split the duties. Now you go on shift, right? So your wife goes to work during the day, and you're at home and you go to work during the night. There are kids that need to be fed. The dishes need to be done. How do you expect men in the UK, for instance, to deal with that situation?
As I said before, helping and the division of duties are two different things. I'm sure you know that there's quite a lot of divorce that is going from our brothers and sisters who have gone to the UK. And they usually start from these small things that we're talking about here. That the men would feel belittled by some of the duties that you will be asked to do with the wife. And the wife would be right by saying that I've been on duty 10 hours and I need to rest. And you have been seated here. Can you do my laundry? And you have, since we were born, you have never heard of anything like that. That is the African flavor that I'm talking about. Yeah, you can go to Europe, but if you lose the African flavor, you're bound to have conflict. That's why there's a high rate of divorces there. Our brothers and sisters who are in the United Kingdom.
So the reality for many people is that their children will leave home and go to university in another country.
Okay.
That country is not always an African country. Many of those kids are African by nationality, by descent, by birth. But as far as exposure to a culture that is dynamic, that is evolving, that is changing, they are no longer African. Because a culture that is real in a cosmopolitan Toronto, London, New York, or Tokyo, is one that talks about apportioning duties, that talks about almost seamless gender roles, if there are. That it's more about what needs to be done versus is it a woman thing or a man thing, is the issue. So do you think that even for those Africans that are leaving Zimbabwe, leaving South Africa, Zambia, Malawi, to go to the West, that element of the African flavor, as you said, should remain?
It has to. We have issues with raising children, and I know a lot of our brothers and sisters who have gone abroad in countries like the United Kingdom, Australia, etc., and they complain about these issues to do with the equality, the rights of the child. One woman was complaining to me the other time that she went into the bedroom of her son. When she suddenly opened the door, the boy was busy smoking dagga. And there was hell. The boy was shouting at the mother and saying, you've invaded my privacy. Who told you to come into my room? That to us here in Africa, there's nothing like that. There's no child who says he has got his own right, he has got his own room, and he has got his own privacy. As long as he's within the so-called four walls of mine, he still is my child, and I have to know what he's doing. He has no right to chase me away from his room. Room for what? That house doesn't have the African flavor that we are talking about. And we have to take the African flavor abroad. And as we bring our children up abroad, we know culture is dynamic, but we should not copy and paste everything that we find there. At the end of the day, when you visit your sister abroad, the children should say, Magadiko Mofo. They should not come and say, hi, Hugo, how are you? No. We Africans, we should carry the African flavor abroad.
Fantastic, and thus we're going to leave the conversation. Ngoma Fred, thank you very much for coming on to Man to Man.
Yeah.
A little bit of conflict, a little bit of disagreement, but it is about the African flavor, as Fred Messi, founder of Varume Svinurai, suggests that it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you've got to remain African. Your thoughts, your sentiments on the links below. You've been watching Man to Man. I'm your host, Hugo Ribatika, back on the same platforms at the very same time next week. Until then, remember, we'll leave no man behind. Goodbye.
You don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. And life as we live it is governed by laws. And it's either you're on top of the game or the game is on top of you. So know your rights, exercise them, and enforce them. This is why this show is of predominant importance. It's a show where we unpack legal provisions that affect your daily lives. It's so fundamental to your existence that you would be remiss not to know about the laws that govern your existence. So the logical thing to do is to appreciate the value of this show. This show is incredible, it's great. It gets you to know your rights and to know your obligations in terms of the law.
2025 ZimSec National Debate and Public Speaking Competition. Well, it's a hit over here.
Hosting it as Chaplin High School this year and as the Midlands Province has been a great honor.